Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Outer Chat. This is Kyle directly from Brazil. And guys, today is the day that I'll do the third part of the explanation of the Agust D trilogy. Alright? And again, I took a link that Georgiana gave to me, sent to me on my Instagram. So thank you for that again. And this one is from Book Theories again. Alright? The first one, Dechita, I did from DK. The second one from Book Theories, and this third one, Book Theories again, okay? So if you're not subscribed yet to the channel, subscribe here right now and click the like button as well, alright? That helps a lot the channel, alright? To send the content to other people and to know the channel and to grow the channel. So do it right now, it's free, alright? Okay guys, without further ado, I'm too excited to see how the stories end. I loved the MV. It's the most emotional MV from the three MVs, right? And I'm really excited to see how the stars end. Everything is set. Let's go!
Hello and welcome back to Bookish Theories. In this video, we'll like to talk
Really cool intro, right? Bookish Theories. I love it.
about Agust D's Amygdala, focusing on a little breakdown of the lyrics and the music video to see what they can tell us about the meaning behind this song. Now, given the subject matter of this track, please be aware that this video might contain sensitive topics that could be triggering to some of you, so moving forward, please proceed with caution. Amygdala is a song.
The MV, you know, by itself already, you know, can trigger some people, right? The explanation must be worst.
Written by Jung himself that expresses his desire to erase the painful memories of the past, while also recognizing that this past is ultimately impossible to change. The title of the song refers to the almond-shaped part of the brain in charge of processing memory, decision-making, and emotional responses such as fear, anxiety, and anger.
I didn't know that. When I reacted to the song, I thought he was talking about the amygdala placed in the throat. But no, you guys told me on the comment sections, explained to me what is the real amygdala here in this MV, in the song.
As he explained himself in the Road to D-Day documentary, the amygdala is the part of your brain that helps a person.
I need to watch this D-Day documentary. I think she talked about this on the second video, the second explanation, or the DK mentioned it. I don't remember, but I need to watch this.
To survive, since it stores the memory of painful experiences. In case something similar happens again, it triggers a strong emotional response that is meant to protect you from it. This form of protection, however, can also be disrupted by traumatic events, and in many respects, the song deals with Jung's struggle in dealing with these strong emotions. As we see in a second, Amygdala is a very personal song that talks about sensitive topics about himself and his family. By his own admission, the process of writing
and it's really brave to put that, you know, on the paper and write the song and, you know, talk about it. It's sometimes it's difficult to talk about our problems or something that is hurting us, right? But you need to be brave, you know, and when you're brave to do this, things might get better, you know, because when you have problems, sometimes it's better, you know, to talk about it, you know, and to express yourself about it. So yes, really brave.
Was a very difficult one, but as tough as it was also an important step towards healing. Bringing up bad memories can be painful, but it also helps you learn from the very experiences that hurt you. Even if everyone copes with trauma in different ways, when it comes to Jung at least, his way of coping with pain is to face it through music. In his live about D2, for instance, Jung actually mentioned a book by Ron Marasco titled About Grief. In this book, the author actually explained that one way to cope with grief is to go in a place you've never been, write down the things that make you struggle, and then throw the paper away as a way to free yourself from the pain holding you back. In the live, Jung explained that his way of doing that is making music. He puts his pain in a song, then he releases it, and that release has the same comforting effect of throwing the paper away. Amygdala is a great example of this, because even if confronting his pain is very difficult, it's also a process that teaches him how to cope with it. As anticipated in the documentary, for instance, Amygdala finally explains why the characters from the Trita in Hegum have a scar on their eye.
Yeah.
This scar represents the trauma and pain that he endured throughout his life, and even if in the video we see that it's self-inflicted, this action has a symbolic meaning in its own right. You see, according to Jung, all wounds and scars are made by the individual, not because we are to blame for our own trauma, but rather because we fail to learn and listen to the amygdala. As he said himself, you can't really avoid the first arrow, and even in the song he's coping with things that are out of his control. He opens
Really clever here. I never thought about this like this way, but I'll go back a little bit here, but you know.
Scars are made by the individual, not because we are to blame for our own trauma, but rather because we fail to learn and listen to the amygdala. As he said himself, you can't really avoid the first arrow, and even in the song he's coping with things that are out of his control. He opens up about the accident he had as a delivery driver, his mother's heart problems, his father's liver cancer, and these are all things that were impossible to predict and therefore impossible to avoid. The scar that he gives himself, however, is not really due to the events themselves, but rather to the painful way he chose to deal with them. Yes, you can't avoid the first arrow, but when the second one comes, some people just allow themselves to get hit, and this is what the song is actually about. In both the lyrics and the music video, Jung is quite literally trapped in his own amygdala. He is trapped in his traumatic memories because he is repressing them, and until he does so, he cannot learn from them, thus giving himself a wound every time that his brain forces him to confront them. At the beginning, for instance, the video opens with Jung sleeping in a dark place. That's his own mind, his own amygdala, but as his memory brings him back to the day of his accident, the song opens by repeating the phrase, "I don't know your name." Right from the beginning, we get the sense that in his subconscious, Jungi doesn't really recognize himself in his own trauma. As he travels through the memories of things he wants to erase, he's repressing his participation in these events, and this is exactly why he cannot move on. The more he wants to erase these memories, the more they show up, the more he wants to be saved from them, and the more he gets trapped.
Yeah, that's what I said before, right?
It's because instead of accepting that these things happened and try to learn from these
yes, exactly. So you know, most of the time it's better for you to confront your problems. You cannot suppress your problem because you know you get bigger. So don't do this. Don't do this. Talk with someone. Talk with someone that you know that loves you or are on your side. Okay, because you know it makes a difference doing this, really. So if you have any problem, try to face it and learn with it, you know, not try to avoid it or try to believe that didn't happen. You know, you can change the past, you cannot change the past. So yeah, pretty deep.
Experiences, he would like to change them, even knowing that the past is impossible to change. He's haunted
Exactly. Yes.
by events that he doesn't even remember, like his mother's heart surgery the month he was born, or by events that he couldn't prevent, like the news of his father's cancer while he was at work. These are all things that he can never change, and yet he approaches these memories trying to find a solution that doesn't exist. In the lyrics, for instance, Jungi says that he wants to unpack these memories one by one, not to confront them, but rather to
Like what is done is done. What is done is done, right? You will not change. Even though some things you may think you can change, like you know, some people's mind, like you know, if you have a conflict in your family or anything like this, and you may try to change these people or this person, okay, it's better for you to accept that and try to learn how to deal with it, with this person or with something that happened to your life, then try to change it, because you will not change it because it's not in your hands. You know, you have to accept that, right? A lot of things is not on our hands. That's why life is so difficult, because you know we don't have control about everything. Actually, in life we don't have control about almost everything. We don't have control, right? So that's why life is so difficult, and that's why people are so frustrated all the time, you know, because you're trying to change people's mind. You try change events that happened. So yeah, just don't do this. Just try to deal with it, learn with it, all right? To deal in a better way with the problem, right? I know it's easy to say, but if you at least think to do this, it's a huge step, you know, to get out of this dark place on your mind, right? Try to accept and learn and see, okay, now what? What can I do, right? To deal with it, not try to change it, okay? Yeah.
Could have done something in order to fix them. Throughout the song, he consistently tries to understand if he made the best choice, or the second best, or the third best. But the more he goes down this rabbit hole, the more these memories destroy him. He forces himself to relive those moments again and again, and as his ego splits and becomes more fragmented, the Jung in real life drowns the pain by downing pills. In an interesting bridge...
That's the famous, what if I did do this? What if I didn't do that? Right? Forget this what if. It will drive you crazy. Will drive you crazy.
That the medicine that he is ingesting here actually turns into almonds, and this is a thing that can actually be interpreted in different ways. Since the word amygdala means almond, the fruit in his hand might represent a correlation between the memories stored in the almonds of his brain and him medicating. In the video, it's implied that he's taking the pills to cope, but the reason why he has to cope is because he has memories in the amygdala he cannot move on from, so the almonds might represent this association.
Well, that's why, again, it's so genius. You know, how can a man, you know, get everything together, you know, all these informations on his life and the problems, and write a, you know, beautiful and perfect lyric about it, and create a whole universe. You know, you have to pick everything up inside your head. You literally need to get inside your own head and pick everything up and create this masterpiece here. You know, I'm saying masterpiece because, you know, the first time I watched it, I thought, okay, it's a beautiful MV. I got a little bit emotional, but when you understand all these facts here, all these, you know, details here, you can see it's a real masterpiece.
On the other hand, however, the almonds might also be a reference to the book Almond by Song Won-pyong, which is a novel that both Suga and RM were seen reading in the Soup Season 1. In the story, the protagonist suffers from a condition that stops his amygdala from working well, so his mother feeds him almonds to help him develop the almonds in his brain.
Okay.
In the book, however, this doesn't work, and by the looks of it, neither does in the video, because...
So problem is this second version here, but even though it's still genius, right? But this one here makes more sense. But you know, it doesn't mean that the first one is not right, because, you know, can be both at the same time.
Despite of his medications, Jung is still haunted by his past. In the lyrics,
And I don't doubt it. About these guys, I don't doubt it. You know, they thinking everything.
he begs to be let out. He wants to be set free from the memories in his amygdala. But in the video, we see that every time that he approaches the door closes, trapping him inside of his memory. As the video progresses, his efforts grow, but his failures grow along with them. At the beginning, the door is just closed. Then he approaches it and it gets locked.
And then rain, yeah, I remember.
Past, the more difficult even reaching the door actually becomes. While Jung is overcome by the images of his accident, his mother on the floor, and the illness of his family, he crawls towards the door. But at that point, even the space gets bent. The floor becomes a wall impossible to climb, and Jung lays there as it eventually starts to rain.
Yeah.
Now, this scene can almost be seen as his lowest point, because that is the moment he gives up. The rain washes over him, he's scarred by his own...
I mean, you can't go under, right? You already reached the bottom of your life. That's why we're having so many problems about it nowadays, which is sad. Is not, you know, too much information, too much thing going inside the heads of the kids nowadays. So yeah, it's pretty tough.
own trauma, is trapped in his own memory, and nothing seems to work. In the video, however, not everything is lost, because through his memory we finally make an important discovery. As I mentioned before, Jung is constantly reliving his accident, which is an event that by his own admission he couldn't even mention. As he recalls that series of events time and time again, the outcome is always the same, but the moment he gets at his lowest point, that is, the moment it starts to rain, the same happens in the memory. This is when something strange actually takes place. In a shocking turn of events, the Jungi of the past is able to see the Jungi of the present traveling through the memories in order to warn him. This works. Jungi avoids the accident, but when he finally gets to his front door, the door is locked and he cannot get in. Now this is the bottom of the entire situation here. The door that past Jungi is trying to open is the same one the present Jungi cannot open either.
Yeah.
If we look at the previous scenes, we discovered that the past was knocking on the door of the amygdala all along, and it's this very interaction that elicits this emotional response.
So many details, man. So many details. I think I already mentioned that, but I love Back to the Future, you know, and I love to see all these little details on the movies or these MVs, you know, to see things connecting. So it's so beautiful, it's so good, you know, to watch it and to understand it. Wow.
The present Jungi calls out to his past self because saving him would mean saving himself. In turn, the past Jungi comes through because it's a memory encoded in the amygdala, but its presence is the very thing that haunts his present self. But then we see that this struggle has no resolution because Jungi is still trapped and it's still raining. Throughout the song, however, there are quite a few hints that imply a more hopeful epilogue, because by the end he not only understands that the past cannot be changed, but also that what didn't kill him actually made him stronger. Even if it's still painful to remember the past, Jungi was eventually able to learn from it. So as he slowly lets go of his trauma, it begins to bloom again like a lotus flower. Now him comparing himself to a lotus flower is very significant.
Very good.
Here, because the lotus flower is a choice with a lot of implications.
Because it comes from the mud.
Lotus is a water flower that rises from the mud and grows without stains, thus symbolizing a rebirth that is pure.
I love this symbolism of the lotus flower, you know. I already seen a lot of things, you know, musics and movies, you know, and so yeah, it's really beautiful.
But the earth it comes from. It's a flower that is known for its resilience and strength, and in many Eastern culture, it's also considered an important symbol of spiritual awakening and enlightenment. Jung seeing himself as a lotus flower implies a change for the better that, yes, might not be portrayed in the video, but is there nonetheless. Since the song focuses on his past trauma, the video shows his experience in dealing with those painful memories. But as I mentioned before,
I don't know, maybe this scene here of he, you know, laid down on the floor on the rain, open arms, may symbolize that he accepted, he's in peace, you know, because even if you accept the pain and try to learn with it, it doesn't mean it stopped to exist. It still exists, you know, it's still there, right? You just learn how to deal with it, you know. So the rain is still there, this place is still there, but now he accepted, right? He's not trying to struggle against it anymore. He's like, okay, I will accept it. It's raining. You know, the thing already happened. I cannot change this, so I will just accept. It doesn't mean that it will disappear. So maybe that's why he's still on the floor. Maybe.
Portrayed in the video, but is there nonetheless. Since the song focuses on his past trauma, the video shows his experience in dealing with those painful memories. But as I mentioned before, the very fact that this song exists means that he found a way to cope and find comfort. As he said himself, the album is called D-Day because it's a day of liberation. In Hegum, we saw him getting liberated from unwanted bands and opinions, but in Amygdala, we see the initial stage of him getting liberated from the trauma of his past. To know if this is the last we'll see of Agust D, we'll have to wait and see. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please think about liking and subscribing. As always, thank you so much for watching, guys.
So good to hear her voice, right? To listen to her voice.
I'll see you next time.
So peaceful.
Bye-bye.
Love it. And yeah, this liberation thing she mentioned on the end here, And yeah, that's why life is so difficult, man, because there's a lot of things going on in your life. So you have to deal with these external things that is happening, in the environment around you, with the politicians or your family. There's a lot of problem going on, and it starts to affect your mental health. Everything that is happening in the world right now, that's why I said too much information. You open your cell phone, in 2 scrolls, and you see that is happening a war on Europe, or something on United States, or something in the South America, or the entire world. Literally in your hands. In 5 seconds you can see a lot of information. So you have to deal with it, right? With these informations and what people are thinking about you. You post something on the internet and you try to see, okay, what people will say about this photo or about this video. So you get anxious about it, all the time. So this starts to affect your mind. So when you try to deal with the environment around you, it starts to affect your mind, right? So it's too much to deal. It's too much to deal. That's why I guess this liberation thing she said, right? Because she's getting this liberation from the problems around him and the problem inside him, right? Is the full package, right? Really deep, really deep. I really love it, genius. And okay, now I got to watch this documentary that she mentioned. I forgot the name. So yes, guys, and if you're not subscribed yet to the channel, subscribe here right now and click the like button as well. Alright, that's it. This is Friday, so I really want to wish you guys a really nice and happy weekend, okay? Alright, thank you very much and see you in the next video.